Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today's video is an if I could only keep 10 fragrances out of my current collection, what would they be? As a disclaimer, this will probably change in 6 months to a year. I think there's a few that are lifers, but there's definitely a couple that might end up changing in the future. But as my current situation is, these are the 10 fragrances that I would keep if I could only keep 10. So I hope you enjoy. So I'm filming in my living room today for a little bit of a change of scenery and so that I can sit down and relax. And I've got my top 10 perfumes in here, and as I explained, these are not top 10 for life. I hesitate to say top 10 for life because I feel like there's so many that I still want, and I have a fragrance wish list that's the size of a mountain, and probably 25 fragrances that I still really want, and I do have a feeling that some of them will replace a couple of these ones. But as it sits right now, if something were to happen and I had to suddenly leave my house and the walls were caving in and I could only take 10 fragrances, these were the ones that my gut told me to take. So these are the top 10 that I would take for now as my collection sits at this moment. But I do think that that will change in the next probably 3 to 6 months. I think there's some in here that are like lifers that I for sure will be keeping no matter what. But I do think there's 1 or 2 that could potentially be replaced in the future. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But as it sits right now, these are my top 10 that I would keep if I could only keep 10 fragrances. So the very first one that I grabbed that was a no-brainer for me was Miss Dior by Christian Dior. This is one of my absolute favorite daytime scents, if not my favorite daytime scent. I've had this one for a couple of years. I think the color has changed a little bit, but the smell is still the same. But this is just such an easy go-to everyday fragrance. It's classy, it's very sophisticated, it makes me feel very put together and very pretty, and it's just a really gorgeous fragrance. This has some of my favorite notes in it, including patchouli. The patchouli is done very nicely. It's kind of in the background and it's blended masterfully, and I just love it. Yes, this is for sure one of my all-time favorite fragrances. I love it so much. So that one for sure would be coming with me. The second one that was a no-brainer for me was none other than Alien. You guys know that I love my Alien. This is my favorite nighttime scent. So I guess what I did was I grabbed my favorite daytime and my favorite nighttime scent first. But yes, this one I absolutely love so much, and without question, I had to take it. So you guys know that this is a jasmine, amber, and woody fragrance. Very strong, very captivating. It's sexy, it's an eye turner, it's very polarizing. People either love it or they hate it. I happen to love it. I was one of the people who hated it when I first smelt it, and it very quickly grew on me and has become one of my all-time favorite fragrances. Yes, this fragrance to me is like the epitome of sexy and bold and confident. This is post reformulation, and I have heard people say that it doesn't last as long and it's not as strong as pre-reformulation. But I still really like this one. It's a little bit soapier, I find, and a little bit lighter. Probably doesn't last quite as long, but I still like it as much as I did pre-reformulation. It still has that gorgeous Alien DNA. So that is my number 2. The next one was Chanel No. 5 Low. So this one is a newer one to my collection that I think I had told you guys needed to grow on me. When I first got it, I wasn't 100% sure about it because it was quite strong in the citruses, and normally citrus perfumes don't do very well with me. But this one has quickly grown to be one of my favorite. This is such a clean, fresh, soapy fragrance, and it screams class. It has that original Chanel No. 5 DNA, but they've added some citruses and made it lighter, and it's more of a easy to wear, modern, kind of youthful daytime scent. So this perfume for me, the reason it had to make it onto my list is because it ticks off so many boxes for me. This is appropriate for work. This is a summer scent. This is a fresh citrus scent. It ticks off the clean soapy vibe. Yeah, this is just such a perfect fragrance. I actually like wearing this one to bed too. I wore it to bed last night, and it just makes you feel really fresh and clean and really classy, and I love it. So if you guys haven't tried Chanel No. 5 Low, definitely see if you can. It's kind of like a more wearable, more modern, updated twist on the original No. 5. This has become one of my favorite fragrances as well. The next one that made my list is none other than Olivia Belle. This one was an easy one for me to pick as well. It's just masterfully blended. There's no other women's fragrance for daytime that is as well blended as this. It's just such a lovely fragrance. The lasting power is pretty good. The sillage is pretty good. This is just one of my all-around favorite fragrances. It's got all kinds of notes in here that I love. It's so beautiful, you guys. There's a reason that this is one of the #1 best-selling women's fragrances in the world. Yeah, so this was a very easy choice, very, very easy choice for me. So that is Olivia Belle by Lancome. The next obvious choice in my collection was Chanel Coco Mademoiselle. So this one should come as no surprise as well. This is an absolutely gorgeous, classy daytime scent for a woman. Again, it's a little bit citrusy, a little bit fresh, a little bit woody. It's very clean, it's very sophisticated smelling. This is a really nice kind of work appropriate, daytime appropriate, fresh out of the shower, but yet there's something classy and sexy about it too. So it's kind of similar to the Chanel No. 5 Low in the fact that it's soapy and fresh and perfect for daytime, but there's also something about it that is unmistakably sexy. It's just a classy, classy fragrance. If a woman is wearing this, it means that she has her life together and she takes care of herself and she dresses well. Yes, when I first got this fragrance, you guys, I used to think that it was kind of hard to wear because I was like, it was so far from the typical sweet fragrances that I would normally gravitate toward, like Miss Dior and Olivia Belle. When I first bought it, I specifically bought it for the bottle. I didn't think I was going to end up loving it as much as I do, and it's now one of my absolute favorite fragrances. So that's kind of the theme with a lot of my fragrances. I currently have 3 in my top 10 that have had to grow on me. Yeah, so that is my 5th choice, Coco Mademoiselle by Chanel. So nice. My 6th choice was Monger from Guerlain. So this one, again, a little bit over talked about, a little bit overhyped on the YouTube community. I'm aware of that, but this is one of my absolute favorite fragrances for women. This is a really sultry, deep, kind of sexy, but at the same time, it's very light, it's cozy, it's a lavender and vanilla scent, and it's powdery. Yes, this is just a very classy, somewhat sexy, very cozy, feminine, sophisticated, and chic scent. So where I might wear Coco Mademoiselle during the daytime, this would be the one I would transition to for the evening if I wanted to smell a little bit sexy. So what I like about this scent is it's not over the top, in your face sexy. It's not like a black opium type of a sexy. It's more of a sophisticated, classy, comforting kind of a sexy. And yeah, it's just beautiful. It's really, really well done. It's one of my favorite Guerlain fragrances. And I actually would really like to try the Eau de Toilette version as well as the Intense version. If you guys have tried either of those, let me know. But this one for sure is a keeper in my perfume collection for sure. So the next one that I grabbed instinctively was Hypnotic Poison by Christian Dior. So this one's a little bit more appropriate for the evening and for the winter. I had a lot of daytime scents and a lot of summertime appropriate scents, but I didn't have anything for the winter. I've had this one for so many years. This one I keep repurchasing over and over and over. To me, it's probably one of the best Dior fragrances that they've ever come out with. It's just a gorgeous almondy vanilla. It is, as the name implies, very hypnotic. It is intoxicating, it is addictive, it is sexy, it's gorgeous. This one I like to wear in the wintertime in the evening. It is my absolute favorite wintertime evening scent. If I could only choose one wintertime evening scent, aside from Alien, I would probably pick Hypnotic Poison. Even though, to be honest, I get a little bit sick of it from time to time because I've had it for so long. And it is such a popular fragrance, so I do tend to sometimes get sick of it, but it is still such a masterfully blended, amazing fragrance. I couldn't imagine not having it in my collection. So that is Hypnotic Poison by Dior. The next one that I picked is a favorite of both me and my boyfriend, and that is Olympia by Paco Rabanne. This has quickly become one of my favorite daytime scents, summer scents, but daytime scents in general. This is a salty vanilla fragrance. This one, honestly, I think could be a staple because I have nothing like it in my collection. It's like mouth-wateringly good. It's very, very sexy. It's sweet, so it would be appropriate for the evening time, but that salty note and that aquatic kind of a vibe that it has makes it also appropriate for the daytime in the summer. This is one of my favorite fragrances to wear going on a date during the daytime, going for coffee, just going for a drive, just spending my day with my significant other. This is one of my absolute favorite fragrances. Yes, this is such a good fragrance, you guys. If you haven't tried Olympia Eau de Parfum, I suggest getting your hands on it. If you were interested in the Intense version is not a better version of this, or a more intense version. The intense version is less salty, more vanilla. So it's more vanilla, more amber. So it's a little bit sweeter, probably more evening appropriate. This one is still my favorite, hands down. I can't imagine not having Olympia in my collection. It's one of my absolute favorites, and it's just wonderful. You need to try it. So I currently have 8 sitting there, and to be honest, the first 7 or 8 were pretty easy for me to pick. It was narrowing down the last 2 that became very difficult. I felt like I needed some more nighttime fragrances, and I had a really hard time picking just one nighttime fragrance or 2 nighttime fragrances. The other reason is because there's still a couple of other ones that I love that did not make this list, and I would really hate to part ways with them, but I knew I could only pick 2 more, so yes, this was a very difficult decision to go from 8 to 10. But the 9th one that I picked is a current favorite. You guys have heard me talk about it many times already. It's just one of my new favorites, and I would like to replace it. This one is a dupe for a more expensive niche fragrance. I would like to eventually get that niche fragrance, but for the time being, it is Layered First Kiss exclusive. This is one of the best fragrances I've smelt in a really long time. This is supposed to be a dupe for Delina Exclusive, which is the one I would eventually like to replace this with. Once I run out of this one, that is kind of my promise to myself that I can then upgrade to the Delina Exclusive. But that being said, this is still a very nice fragrance. They are like 99% dupes for one another. Yeah, so this is a rhubarby citrus tart, kind of a floral, which also has gourmand and musky notes in the base. So there is oud in here, there is lychee, there's rose, there's so many incredible notes in this fragrance. And when you combine them all together, that like the femininity of the rose and the sweetness and the depth of the oud, it's like heaven. I've never smelled anything quite like it. And it's quickly become one of my favorite fragrances. When I first smelled it, I wasn't sure because it was very different. And also the lasting power of the layered fragrances is intense. So they're very strong, they have incredible sillage, and they last forever. So I think what happened was I probably sprayed too much and it just gave me a headache and it was just too much. But if you go lightly on this, which is all you have to do, it smells absolutely incredible. Highly recommend giving it a smell if you haven't already. Okay, so the last one that I picked is another nighttime fragrance because I felt like I didn't have enough nighttime fragrances. Like I said, it was very difficult, but I picked this one because this is a newer one to my collection and it is sweet, it's gourmand, and it's a little bit classy. I just think it has like an elevated sense about it, but it's also very cozy and warm, and that is Prada Candy Night. So Prada Candy Night is a chocolatey fragrance, but it's also got a lot of powdery kind of muskiness to it. It's very sensual, it's very soft, but this one also has really good performance, you guys. So I had a few other fragrances in my collection, a couple of them were niche, and I really like them, but the reason that they didn't make the list and this one did is because this one has incredible performance. Yeah, this will give me easily 8 to 10 hours of wear. And the sillage is pretty good, and it's very sensual and just sexy and makes me feel very classy and very sexy all at the same time. One of my new favorite evening scents. This does almost have niche vibes, and honestly, if I didn't know this was a designer fragrance, I probably would guess that it was niche. That's my opinion. I think it's a very well done fragrance. And yeah, I also really like the bottle. I think the bottle's gorgeous. And that is Prada Candy Night. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please excuse my raspy voice. I am getting a bit of a cold. And head on over and follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys all next time.